It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning. Welcome to the Friday episode of Travel and Cruise Industry News podcast. Here on the second day of September 2022. I'm Chillie Falls, your host, coming to you from Bedford County, Virginia, Central Virginia area, right near Lynchburg. Today, folks, is World Coconut Day. Now, those of you that have followed me for a while know that on occasions, I may have a pina colada. Those are made from coconut. So, if I'm going to celebrate World Coconut Day, it means I've got to go someplace and get a pina colada, even if it is here in Virginia and not in the islands where I really like to drink pina coladas. But anyway, that will have to do until next week. So everybody, you know what to do. Go out tonight and have a pina colada someplace to celebrate World Coconut Day. All right, our lead story this morning is Carnival Implements Curfew Fleetwide. Also today, Azamara removing vaccine requirements. The season's first hurricane is upon us. All access tours back on Royal Caribbean cruise lines. Norwegian makes it official. Pepsi to Coke. And much more live here this morning. As a matter of fact, today, just out of taking a rough survey, stick in the comments, or if you're watching this on the replay, or rather stick in the chat if you're in the chat room, or on comments if you're watching the replay. Which do you prefer, Pepsi or Coke? I prefer Coke. I prefer Diet Coke, as a matter of fact, but that's just me. All right, if you're listening via the podcast, welcome aboard. Today is the 201st podcast. I hit that milestone yesterday of 200. But you can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcasts from, like TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and voila, I pop up. If you are ever listening to the podcast and want to jump over to the video feed, there's always a link in the description of the podcast, which will take you over to access the video feed. Just click on it. You can pop over and check out any pictures that we may be showing, or video clips or whatever, and you can go right back to the podcast to finish the program. All right, we do have some of our family out on the open seas. Lizzie Lou, of course, has been on Wonder of the Seas. She was at Mount Vesuvio in Italy this morning, taking a look at the sunrise. Sunrise over Mount Vesuvio. It's pretty awesome. That's from Lizzie Lou. And she did say that her trip today to Capri, something happened and she couldn't go. So she's spending the day lazing around the pool. So that's okay too. You're allowed to do that on cruises, Lizzie. Honest, you can. Our buddy Rochelle is on Pearl Islands in the Bahamas. She's on her way back to Europe again, but this time as a tour guide for a church group, which is actually a group that's going on a church pilgrimage to visit shrines in France and Oberammergau in Germany. And so, I mean, you know, she's a good person to do that, because I think she's been to every cathedral in Europe, or a lot of them. And she's on Pearl Island in the Bahamas, which looks like a nice little island. I'm not even sure where Pearl Island is. Quite frankly, that's one of the islands that I've never been to, but Pearl Island's in the Bahamas. And then Cindy Davis Weatherall, as she was in Falmouth yesterday, She is on a cruise with her mom and dad to celebrate, listen to this, folks, to celebrate their 74th wedding anniversary. Congratulations, mom and dad. That's just awesome. Of course, that's coming from somebody that was married for 74 minutes once. But anyway, that's me. Anyway, seriously, congratulations to Cindy's mom and dad. That's just terrific. All right, guys, I'll be back with today's news after a quick word from one of our network sponsors. All right. Actually, that's not the right picture. You know me, I'm going to start things off wrong no matter what. Let's try that. Yeah, that's better. Okay, today's top story has to deal with Carnival. They've instituted an onboard youth curfew across the entire fleet. The curfew will only apply to travelers 17 years of age or younger and goes into effect immediately. Outlined in the cruise line's minor guest policy page, the new curfew is as follows. Guests 17 years of age and under who are not accompanied by an adult in their traveling party, 21 years of age or older, must be clear of all public areas by 1 a.m. each evening unless involved in a Club O2 or Circle C teen activity. Cruise passengers have long been divided on the subject of young cruisers, with some travelers reporting younger guests taking over elevators, playing in hallways or stairwells, pounding on stateroom doors, or otherwise causing excessive noise and disturbance, particularly late at night. The last day of the cruise, when youth programs have typically concluded, is often a more raucous night for the young cruisers and their newly made onboard friends before they part ways the next morning. Carnival Cruise Line brand ambassador John Heald clarified the consequences of violating this new policy on his popular Facebook page. Quote, any guest in violation of the curfew or whose behavior contradicts our rules could be disembarked in the next port at their own expense and not be allowed to ever cruise with us again. This does not mean, however, that young travelers would be put off the ship without their parents or guardians. I would hope not. Any reported incident is sure to be investigated before consequences are applied, and it is likely that a warning would be issued before each drastic action is taken, depending on the individual circumstances and the severity of the incident. Furthermore, the curfew will not apply when young cruisers are involved in supervised activities like from the Club O2 or Circle C, and when they are accompanied by their parents or another member of the immediate traveling party 21 years of age or older. This change comes days before Carnival Cruise Line updated days after they updated their know before you go information to emphasize respect, courtesy, and other values expected of its guests. No one will ever confuse a Carnival Cruise Line ship with a school library, but our experience has taught us that everyone has a better time when children are supervised, noise in the hallway is kept to a minimum, guests follow cues, and that a spirit of community and neighborliness is shown by all, the new policy reads. Similarly, the consequences for excessive disruptive behavior is the same time as breaking the new curfew, disembarkation at the next available port at the guest expense, and a ban from sailing with Carnival in the future. These changes come after there have been a rise in onboard incidents in recent weeks, with physical altercations between groups of guests that escalate into violence. Similar incidents that involve fewer parties and are quickly broken up are rarely reported, but do happen on occasion when guests may be involved in misunderstandings or other unfortunate circumstances. In many cases, excessive alcohol consumption and the inhibited atmosphere of a cruise vacation may contribute to such incidents, though all cruise lines do take steps to ensure a safe, enjoyable getaway for everyone on board. So Carnival is clamping down on some of the behavior problems. And admittedly, as I've gotten older, I've cruised Carnival less than I used to. I do have a couple Carnivals booked now, and I'm looking at a couple more. But anyway, I have seen some pretty disruptive behavior at times from guests that from kids that aren't supervised. Seen a lot of kids sneaking booze when they're not supervised. All right, Azamara is the latest cruise line to drop things. Of course, Azamara is a premium cruise line offering cruises to the Caribbean and to Europe. They're removing their vaccine requirement for guests on December the 1st. The dropping of the vaccine requirement by Azamara will apply to cruises to Europe and the Caribbean unless required by local regulations. Regardless of vaccination status, Azamara will continue to encourage all guests departing from any port to get tested at leisure prior to travel to ensure a comfortable and enjoyable travel experience. These results will not be required to board, however. Azamara recently made the decision to remove its pre-cruise testing requirement. That was done back on July 25th. COVID-19 testing will continue to be available to guests on board as needed to ensure a safe environment for guests and crew members. Azamara crew will continue to be fully vaccinated and wear face coverings while on board. By the way, folks, I don't think I pointed out while I was on Norwegian Sky last week, mid-cruise, the crew got notified by Norwegian that their face coverings were no longer required. I thought the entire crew would immediately do away with the face coverings, but the majority kept them on. I guess feeling they are so used to them, they feel safer for themselves and safer for the guests if they continue to wear the mask. So, I mean, like my room steward kept his on. Several of the waiters kept theirs on. Now, a few started taking them off, but it wasn't a big, a bunch like I thought they would. Anyway, Azamara is in an upmarket cruise line with 4 cruise ships in their fleet. They offer immersive experience for guests through longer stays, more overnights, night touring for a more meaningful travel experience compared to many other cruise lines. And, our buddy Bethany Bartley down in Tampa went on an Azamara cruise for her birthday not too long ago. We followed that exclusively. And of course, she's going on another Azamara cruise. I need to get a hold of Bethany and chat a little bit about what she thinks about the changes that Azamara is making. Of course, she also had tested positive at the end of that cruise. So it'll be interesting to catch up with her and chat a little bit because her next Azamara cruise is to South America. It's one of my bucket list cruises. So, all right, well, we got to talk about weather, folks. Haven't talked about weather much. It's been unbelievable, actually. For the first time in 25 years, the month of August did not have a named storm in the Atlantic. But now that September has arrived, things appear to be changing quickly. As you see on the map, Danielle has strengthened some more. It's forecast to become the season's first hurricane during the next several hours. As a matter of fact, we thought it would be a hurricane by the time the 9 o'clock update, 9 o'clock GMT update was issued. However, it did not increase the last little bit. It's at 70 miles an hour. Of course, it has to be at 74 to be a hurricane. It is expected to do that during the day today. Presently, it's moving east at 3 miles an hour. Central pressure is 995 millibars. It's forecast to meander over the open Atlantic during the next couple days. Tropical storm force wind extend outward about 70 miles from the center. So not expected to involve land at all. So there are two other systems. As you can see down on the one closest to the islands, right off the coast of South America, that is and this is just changed a little bit, area of low pressure located several hundred miles east of the Leeward Islands. Conditions are conducive for development. They're saying 50% over the next 48 hours, 70% over the next 5 days. So there's a possibility of a storm that could give us some trouble next week as I'm on Symphony of the Seas. We'll have to watch this one closely. And then the system out closest to Africa is another depression that is moving across in the what I call the trough. It seems to happen that way. A broad area of low pressure located northwest of the Cabo Verde Islands, but it has just a slight chance of any further development. We're talking, 10% over the next 5 days. So things are a little different, however, out in the Pacific that has been quite active this year. I have not talked about it as much as it's happened because there hasn't been that much land interaction, but there's still some things out there. Javier is right off the coast of Baja California, has sustained winds 45 miles an hour, pressure's 1,000 millibars. It's moving northwest at 9 miles per hour. It is not forecast to have landfall. However, it's going to cause some major rain and major high surf and surf with undertow along parts of the central coast of Mexico and along the coast of Baja California. The system that's unnamed at this point, which down off the coast of southern Mexico, is disorganized showers and thunderstorms extended several hundred miles south of the coast of southern Mexico. It's now associated with a broad area of low pressure. Gradual development of this system is expected. Probably a tropical depression will form this weekend. It is expected to move westward and then west-northwestward near the coast of southern and southwestern Mexico. So interests in those areas need to monitor the progress of the storm. Currently, it's counted at 50% chance of development in the next 48 hours and 80% chance in the next 5 days. So into September, we got to start looking at the weather. So it's been really, we've had nothing in the Atlantic, which is amazing after the last couple of years. All right, The next story this morning has to do with Royal Caribbean. For guests on Royal Caribbean, the popular All Access tour has made a comeback. Several guests have reported in the last week that the tours are available for booking in the cruise planner, while others have already been lucky enough to participate in tours on board. The behind-the-scenes tour, as it is also called, gives guests the chance to explore what it takes to run a massive cruise ship with thousands of guests and crew members. The tour disappeared during the pandemic to keep guests and crew protected under the cruise line's protocols. With measures becoming less intrusive on board and protocols easing, Royal Caribbean has decided to bring back the popular tour, with guests now being able to make bookings. During the All Access tour, guests set off behind the scenes in those crew-only areas. For the main crew corridor known as I-95, guests will be able to take a look at these areas by following their guide, including the main dining room, galley, provisions, engine control, laundry, and the bridge. When I get on Symphony on the 10th, I'm going to check and see if, in fact, it's an accessible tour. I have a feeling that several of those areas you have to go up and down stairs. So that's my thinking, at least. It is now official, folks. Norwegian has changed from Pepsi to Coke. There have been reports that it was going to happen. Of course, we know that there was Coke on board the latest Norwegian ship. The change is in conjunction with the inaugural sailing of the Norwegian Prima. Norwegian Prima is the first vessel of Norwegian's 18-ship fleet to carry Coca-Cola as its official soft drink. The remaining NCL ships will all be fully switched over to Coke products by December. So, again, folks, if you would, stick in the comments or in the chat room if you prefer Coke or Pepsi. I'm taking a little survey. My vote is for Coke. And finally, this story is kind of for Hot Air Tom, and maybe a little for some other folks, but there are cute little robots who could deliver your coffee to you next. Some cafes and hotels have already deployed these robots. Hot Air Tom, this one is not exactly like the ones they're talking about. This one is the one that might deliver your hot chocolate to you with rum, but the ones that look more like R2D2, they just have a little compartment inside that would bring it to you, but they won't deliver Hot Air Tom's hot chocolate with rum. Just reporting the news. That's going to wrap up the news this morning. Let's go see who's in the chat room making fun of me as usual for my many and often screw ups. Jason is with us at Pittsburgh. Curfew. What? Yeah. Putting a curfew on the kids. I don't know. Don't mind that at all. I don't know how much teeth there's going to be in that, but at least it's in the new rules. Carol's with us. Hi, Carol. Mike's here. Hey, Mike. Nikki's with us. Good morning to Chillie and gang. Good to have you with us. Marissa. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, Marissa. Marissa Furforo. Anyway, she votes for Coke. Okay. I'm with you. Jason says, I don't care if it's Pepsi or Coke as long as it has rum in it. Well, now that's, I agree with that. And I did have, when I was with Hot Air Tom, when he was at breakfast mixing rum in his hot chocolate, I did have a rum and Coke, and I found it delightful. I have rum on occasions with my sister and brother-in-law, but I did enjoy that, and that was with, of course, Diet Pepsi, because that's what we had on the Sky. But I'm a Diet Coke guy. Carol says Diet Coke. Mike says Pepsi Max. Oh, there's another vote. Cindy's with us. Good morning, Cindy. Nikki likes Coke from Mexico. Real sugar, not corn syrup. Just don't say out loud that you are going to Mexico to buy a little Coke. Yeah, no, that's frowned upon. But that's, of course, a different kind of Coke. Hot Air Tom is here. Hello, everyone. Note to Cindy, who is at home watching on the TV, we got our flights for October Encore cruise, United to Chicago to Seattle, return from Miami, same as last trip. All right. Jason says, kids probably trying to get drinks at night. That's what we found, what we kind of noticed on one of the Royal Caribbean cruises that I was on, is that the kids were going around and catching where people left drinks on tables with a little in the bottom. They were going around nabbing them and drinking them and going finding another table. So yeah, there's been some misbehaving, I do admit. I've never thought it was really bad. And there's different levels of noise on all cruise lines. Obviously, Carnival has always been the party line and more rambunctious than many. Royal Caribbean, of course, is a big family line, so that you could have some more noise on that. Norwegian seems to be a little more sedate. A line like Holland America, admittedly, is heavily with senior citizens. Not all. They still have some kids. But it is very sedate and much more quiet. Although the entertainment on Holland American at night is just as good as on other ships. The bar scene's fun. I love Holland America's Blues Club. That's terrific. They always have a really good piano bar. I like that. So, yeah. But, they're still going to be, teenagers are going to be teenagers, just like they would be at home. Jason says, good luck enforcing that. And I agree. I'm wondering how it's going to be enforced. Sonny's with us. Hi, everybody. Sonny says, I'm down in Mississippi. If they don't want to get COVID, wait a minute, I lost track of that. If they don't want to get COVID, obviously the non-vax people boarding now. Oh, they don't want to get COVID, obviously, with the non-vax people boarding now. Yeah, everybody seems, we're heading in that direction. And there's clearly can be debatable whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. I didn't notice any major differences on Norwegian until they dropped the mask mandate, and some of the crew could go without it. I was just as comfortable on the Sky as I've been on all the other cruises. By the way, I did check today with the news out that the approval on the next booster, which is supposed to have the pixie dust for the new variant or whatever they put in it supposedly to help against the new variants. I'm not getting into that debate, folks. Don't get me wrong. I checked to see if it was available here. It's not yet. I will get it when they have it, just because I've been so successful so far and want to stay that way at any cost if possible. But that's me. I'm not preaching it. Sonny says, still going to wear my mask. Don't want only virus. It's nice not getting sick. Yeah, I agree to that to a certain degree. And I'm still more comfortable on a cruise ship than anywhere. Although I have gotten, again, in this area, which is very conservative and very anti-everything, I've gotten pretty comfortable and pretty slack in local restaurants and not masking. So yeah, again, I've gotten very comfortable, this year, and that's probably not good, but that's the way it is for me. Jason says, this is really gross, drinking leftover drinks. That is really gross. Oh, I think it's awful. But then the kids were kids. So I wouldn't do it, but that's, hell no. Of course not. Cindy says, our NCL flight in September to Rome is great. Tampa to Atlanta, then to Rome on Delta. Very pleased since we only paid less than $1,000 for two flights. Was able to use some Delta points to upgrade our seats. Nice. That's great, Cindy. Jason's laughing at me, talking about pixie dust. Well, it's whatever they put in the booster shot to cover the new variants on it. I don't know what it is. Could be pixie dust. Who knows? All right, guys. Holiday weekend ahead of us. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I'm glad not to be traveling this weekend. My niece Amanda drove down to the beach. She is getting a couple days away. Cindy says to sign her up for the pixie dust. I will do that. Hot Air Tom says he's eagerly awaiting CVS offering the new vaccine. Yeah, that was one of my calls this morning to CVS, who hate CVS anymore, but I have gotten both of my boosters from there because they had it when the cancer center didn't have it. So I checked with the cancer center and CVS here locally, and neither one have the new improved strain of boostering, whatever it is. Hot Air says we'd like to get it before our Prima cruise in 3 weeks. And Sonny says have a great Labor Day. Yeah, I hope you guys, no offense, I hope you guys are staying home this weekend. I hate holiday weekends and traveling, so I'm happily going to stay right here and go out to the pool. I hope to spend a good bit of this weekend at the pool. Anything happens in the world of cruising, I will, of course, either do a live or a clip, a video, or something to keep you guys updated. I will be working this weekend some on getting caught up with some of the stuff that I haven't gotten done from the Sky Cruise yet. Got a lot of content still to get out. It's just that, I haven't had time, and I haven't had the energy this week that I normally have with working. Of course, and I've been busy doing a whole bunch of other stuff here at the Farmo Falls also. But hopefully I'll get some more content out this weekend. I'd like to get a lot of this done before I go for Symphony of the Seas next weekend. So I will be driving back to Miami on the 8th and 9th. No, the 9th, and I get on the ship on the 10th. So on 8th and 9th, I'll be traveling, get to Miami on the night of the 9th and board on the 10th. That's the way it works for Symphony of the Seas. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to getting with my buddies, Sue and Barry again. They will be on that cruise. I remember Sue's the one that I interviewed about Royal Caribbean's casino loyalty program. So I'm going to be sailing with them, and that'll be awesome. So that's going to wrap me up for today, folks. You guys have a fantastic day, a fantastic weekend, and a lovely holiday weekend and Labor Day. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy. Think about cruising. And hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. For now, this is the old fat travel guy. Later, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.